Planets have affinities with certain signs more than others. For example, Mercury has an affinity with the two verbal signs, Gemini and Virgo. Venus has an affinity with Taurus, the sign of personal values and possessions, and with Libra, the sign of balance and relationships. Mars has an affinity with Aries and Scorpio. The Sun has an affinity with Leo, the Moon with Cancer, Sagittarius and Pisces with Jupiter, and Capricorn and Aquarius with Saturn. The term essential dignity describes the condition of a planet in a natal chart. By condition, we mean the planet's ability to express its best version of itself, to be or not to be on its best behavior. However, if a planet has little essential dignity, then it finds it more difficult to express its natural qualities. When Mars is in Scorpio, he is more likely to be on his best behavior than when Mars is in a Venus sign, Taurus or Libra. Venus is in domicile in Taurus and Libra, but it is in detriment in Mars sign, Aries and Scorpio. When Venus is in Taurus and Libra, she can do what she knows best, unify and balance, because Taurus and Libra also seek unity and balance. However, when Venus is in Aries or Scorpio, she is asked to behave contrary to her nature. This doesn't mean that Venus in Aries or Venus in Scorpio is a bad placement. It's just that Venus will behave a bit differently when she's in the sign of her detriment. A planet without essential dignity can be a very creative placement, because it looks for different avenues of expression. There are multiple categories to describe essential dignities, but the most used ones are domicile, exaltation, fall, and detriment. The planet that has the strongest affinity with a sign is in domicile in that sign. When a planet has the next strongest affinity with a sign, we say that it is exalted in that sign. The opposite condition of domicile is called detriment, and the opposite condition of exalted is fall. The Sun is in domicile in Leo and exalted in Aries, because both Leo and Aries are concerned with the development of the ego. So the Sun has an affinity with both Leo and Aries. However, the Sun is in detriment in the group and people-oriented Aquarius and Libra. This doesn't mean that the Sun in Aquarius or Sun in Libra are negative placements. It simply means that the Sun in Aquarius and Sun in Libra is somewhat less natural to express their ego. The Moon is in domicile in Cancer, exalted in Taurus, and in detriment and fall in the opposite signs Capricorn and Scorpio. The Moon has an instinctual energy, so that's why it feels at home in the emotional sign of Cancer or in the nurturing sign of Taurus. However, Scorpio is a fixed water sign, so it freezes the Moon's instinctual qualities. Instead of acting upon its instinct, the Moon in Scorpio will hold on to her emotions, so it can deal with those instinctual urges and emotional responses at an internal level. The Moon in Capricorn is a reserved, status-oriented sign, so the Moon in Capricorn's natural reaction is to repress her instincts and emotions. We shouldn't equate domicile and exaltation with positive, and detriment and fall with negative. The Moon is in domicile in Cancer, so she expresses her emotions freely, but this can lead to mood swings and continuous changes in behavior. The Moon is exalted in Taurus, but sometimes she's so relaxed that it becomes indulgent and hedonistic. Moon in Capricorn or Moon in Scorpio are not negative placements. It's just that the Moon expresses herself contrary to her nature here. Moon in Scorpio can have great emotional depth, precisely because it holds on to her feelings, while Moon in Capricorn can be very emotionally mature, precisely because it represses her instant gratification needs. Nevertheless, the Moon is better and doing the Moon stuff when she's in Cancer and Taurus. So people with the Moon in Cancer and Taurus are usually more in touch with their needs and emotions, whereas people with Moon in Scorpio or Capricorn need to find creative ways to get in touch with their Moon. Mercury is in domicile in Gemini and Virgo, and in exaltation in Virgo. Mercury in Virgo is the only placement where a planet is both in domicile and exaltation. Mercury and Virgo people are usually very skilled with communication, analysis, and different forms of verbal expression. Many writers, scientists, or polyglots share this placement. Mercury is in detriment and falls in Jupiter's signs, Sagittarius and Pisces. Unlike Gemini and Virgo, which represent objective knowledge, Sagittarius and Pisces are rather concerned with the subjective expression of knowledge. So they'd have faith and believe in what makes sense to them at a subjective level, rather than researching it or looking for mercurial evidence. However, this doesn't mean that Mercury in Sagittarius or Mercury in Pisces are not magnificent writers and thinkers. Some of the most original theories in science or philosophy have come from people with a Mercury in detriment and fall. And that's precisely because the limitations of the placement has forced them to find new avenues of expression. Venus is in domicile in Taurus and Libra, and is exalted in Pisces, because Taurus, Libra, and Pisces all share Venus agreeableness, unifying, and merging qualities. Venus is in detriment in the opposite signs of the domicile, Aries and Scorpio, and in fall in the opposite sign of exaltation, Virgo. Mars is in domicile in Aries and Scorpio, and in exaltation in Capricorn. To Mars in Aries, or Mars in Scorpio people, it comes naturally to do Mars, to take initiative, and pursue their objectives. Aries, Scorpio, and Capricorn all have Mars propensity for action. Aries to start something new, Scorpio to remove and cut off what's no longer needed, and Capricorn to achieve something of value. However, Mars is not that action-oriented in Taurus or Libra, where he's in detriment, or Mars in Cancer, where Mars is in fall. Mars in Taurus is too self-paced and grounded to take quick Martian action, which, of course, comes with advantages and disadvantages. When Mars in Taurus does take action, they're more likely than any other Mars placement to finish what they have started. Mars and Libra people may not fight for themselves, but they can make great lawyers or trainers. Cancer may be a hypersensitive placement for Mars, but Mars and Cancer people can also make the most loyal and devoted companions. Jupiter is in domicile in Sagittarius and Pisces, in exaltation in Cancer, in detriment in Gemini and Virgo, and in fall in Capricorn. Jupiter has a natural affinity with Sagittarius' thirst for knowledge, and with Pisces' compassion and spiritual outlook on life. Jupiter also relates to Cancer's nourishing qualities and love of tradition. In Mercury-ruled Gemini and Virgo, Jupiter can feel out of his league because he is asked to focus on facts rather than on intuition. However, people with Jupiter in Gemini or Virgo can be some of the most creative thinkers thanks to their ability to connect the dots and see the big picture. In Saturn-ruled Capricorn, Jupiter's jovial and expansive qualities are challenged. However, Jupiter in Capricorn is perhaps the most realistic and determined Jupiter placement. Finally, Saturn is in domicile in Capricorn and Aquarius, in exaltation in Libra, the sign of justice, in detriment in Cancer and Leo, and in fall in Aries. Saturn is the planet of maturity and social responsibility. In Capricorn and Aquarius, we leave our safety net to fulfill our mission. So Saturn has a natural affinity with these signs. On the other hand, Cancer and Leo are concerned with our inner world. So Saturn can feel a bit trapped and unable to pursue his worldly ventures in these signs. Again, this is not necessarily a negative quality. Saturn in Cancer and Saturn in Leo people are known for their incredible resilience and self-determination. People with Saturn in detriment can create the greatest masterpieces because Saturn gives them the diligence and the determination to follow through and make something from nothing. The essential dignity concept can color your understanding of the planets and can help you understand whether a planet finds it easy to express its natural qualities, or if it needs a bit of effort. Usually the planets that are in the signs of their domicile, exaltation, detriment, or fall, tend to play a more active role in the native's life. If you have one or more planets in domicile or in exaltation, The areas of your life ruled by these planets are usually smoother and more harmonious. If this is, of course, also supported by the aspects. On the other hand, planets in detriment and fall can point to areas of our life where a creative effort is required. Essential dignity is also very useful for transits. When Jupiter is in Sagittarius, its qualities are more easily expressed than when Jupiter is in detriment in Virgo. When Venus is in domicile in Libra, we all find it easier to embody Venus's qualities, irrespective of what our Venus sign is. A good exercise is to follow the moon's 30-day voyage through the 12 signs, and notice how your emotional expression changes when the moon is in domicile or in exaltation versus detriment or fall. Of course, you can do the same exercise with all the other planets. This should give you a good feeling for how essential dignity works in practice.